ECU, Pirate Nation, Purple and Gold family. Stand to your feet, put your crossbones up, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on, yeah. Welcome to the island, man. It's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank on the shark tank, traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here. Armed and ready, bang the lane, be aware, cause if the backboard break, glasses spray everywhere. We'll lighten up the school.
Welcome into the Pirate Playback right here on the Sports Objective as I'm in Heartbreak Hotel. I have the penthouse. I think I've had it for the last few years, ready to sell that penthouse. Here as Pirates lose a heartbreaker today in Dowdy Ficklin, 20-17. With us right now, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you, man?
Oh, it's another great day to be a Pirate. It's nice to be back in Dowdy Ficklin again. Beautiful day, but things just didn't go the way we wanted. Very disappointed.
No doubt. I want to give a shout out to Bubba Rosenbaum. I know he's producing, and now he's back on the road. Want to appreciate him for all he's doing behind the scenes. Appreciate you, Bubba. I know you're keeping it between the lines, as they say. And also, I want to say hello to Alan Thomas, AT, former mayor of Greenville and mayor of Pirate Nation, right, my friend?
Yeah, great day in Greenville. If you ever want to be head of the Chamber of Commerce for a mayor, today was a beautiful day, one to show off your community. But it was a great day, except for the final 3 seconds in Dowdy Ficklin today. A lot to talk about in this game, a lot of room for improvement. So let's have at it.
All right. And also from the Pat Dye era, he came on a little bit early. We'll have Captain Bunk, Terry Gallagher. How are you, sir?
I tell you, I'm feeling a lot of things. I'm not sure yet where to start. So
well, let's start with AT because I know AT has been patiently waiting in the green room. And
yeah.
AT, I'm gonna let you have it at first because I know you've got to go in a little bit, and I always want your insight and perspective on the Pirates.
Well, look, obviously we're all disappointed not to get the win today. There were some good things in this game. I mean, we could take a lot out of this game. We have the best punter, I think, in the NCAA.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to start with some of the positives that I know we're all going to agree on.
Yeah.
You
suck when you start off with the great punter comment.
Hey, how about the first play of the game?
His average today, right?
The first play of the game was great.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought there were some aspects that were alluded to this summer that we would see a lot more of as we got into week 2 and 3. We heard a lot about how our tight end room was just exceptional. Be putting tight ends out there and creating matchup difficulties. And, I watched Tom Brady, Gronkowski play the other night, and I didn't quite see that combination, today. We're still waiting to see some things that have been alluded to. But, you're right. Great start, just like last week. I think we all felt like we probably played one of the top 2 or 3 better teams on our schedule a week ago when we played Appalachia. And no doubt, phenomenal team, top to bottom. They're a true contender, for upper echelon, and we don't doubt that. We, tested in battle, but we also felt like South Carolina had a lot of holes, and we felt like today was going to be a team not as good as Appalachian and playing at home in front of a big crowd, an opportunity for a win. But guys, we did some great things today schematically on defense that really put South Carolina in a stress position. They had a lot of unforced errors as well. Their quarterback really is a struggle, not on the same page with receivers, and they were really out of sync early. I mean, we took all the wind out of their sails early in momentum, and with the big trick play, big quarterback, a pitch to wide receiver pass to Ty Hatfield for 75 yards. Turned out that was the highlight of our day offensively. You remove that one big play early and from our offense, and I guess we only had about Holton, I think, had 77 yards passing today and two interceptions. And gentlemen, that's just not good enough. And Holton owned it. It was great to hear the press comments from Coach. Coach is always going to be diplomatic, but what I like about Holton is he's going to say, probably the best defensive performance we've seen at ECU, which I'm elated about, what our aggressiveness and what our linebackers did. But as I told you guys, because we were all messaging during the game, at some point, if you don't put your boot on the throat of an SEC level athletic team, their athleticism is going to come back to bite you late in the game. And that's exactly what happened when we left 2 to 3 scores on the table in the first half. We had a chance to go into it at halftime, even with a pretty anemic offensive performance, to be up 21 or 24 to nothing at half.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, Shane Beamer is just trying to find a way to get to Georgia next week. But guys, that's why the ball is shaped the way it is. Things are going to happen differently. And we've got a real program issue on offense, not a game issue, a program issue. And, some comment online earlier after the game, some folks' comments being made by everybody wants to point fingers when it's tough. But, there was a point, and I didn't want to make any judgment game 1 or game 2. And, Marshall's coming up next week. But at some point, Ruffin McNeil, 2 years into his tenure, almost lost his job for his loyalty to his defensive coordinator, and really turned the program around when he was able to take an assessment of staff and make a decision to make a change. Look, I watched Coastal Carolina play last night. I see a number of teams. Coastal's center for their line is 5'9", $300, undersized team. Guess what? They run a scheme that matches to their talent. And at this level of football, you can't do one size fits all. There's things you want to accomplish as a team. And at some point, as a head coach, I know Coach Houston and others are really going to have to take a hard assessment of matching the style of what they want to do with the talent we have here. I'll argue with anybody all day from a skill standpoint that we have a number of players here that are as good as anybody we've ever had. But it takes success to breed success. I like the way our defense is going. But, gentlemen, Marshall, that we're playing next week, Tulane that's coming down the pipe, our first 4 or 5 games, there's going to have to be some substantial changes the way that we do things schematically. There's a lot more I could say. I think Holton's probably more engaged with a stronger arsenal from a spread standpoint, maybe at D.H. Conley than the sophistication of what we're trying to accomplish right now. We got to make some changes in the way we're approaching it. I'm counting on this staff to do it. If we can't, from a professional standpoint, we got to make some decisions here, gentlemen. Move the program forward.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. And I said earlier, called in Pirate Radio on the way home just for the hell of it. I love Mike Houston. I think he's a good football coach. I think he's got the wrong idea of how to win here. Look, Donnie Kirkpatrick, don't forget he coached under Lincoln Riley. So while he's running this offense, I put a lot of it on Coach Houston. I think Coach Houston wants to be a run the ball downfield, throw the ball when you have to football team. It just does not fit our personnel, and we don't have an offensive identity. What you need to do at East Carolina, particularly to pull upsets, to beat South Carolina offensively, you need to take advantage of speed. We need to be running tempo and be running spread. And we're not doing that at all. What we're doing does not make any sense at all for the personnel we have and the personnel we can get. I don't know what they're thinking. When you're at JMU, you've got more talent than everybody else in the FCS. When you're at East Carolina, you don't have more talent than half the schools in the American, let alone South Carolina. Now, with that said, our South Carolina's offense is awful. They don't have their quarterback. They're playing a GA at quarterback. I credit our defense for keeping us in the ball game, but I'm gonna put a lot of that on South Carolina's offense being bad. The difference in the ball game today, really, in that first half, there's 2 plays that stand out to me. One was the missed field goal in the first half. The other, and this is the one I told my wife when it happened. We were up 14-0 when Holton threw that pick six right before half, I said we're going to lose the game. I said it's 14-7 now. I said we're going to lose this football game, and we just lost all the momentum. Touchdown ball game against an SEC school. We're not going to be able to move the ball very much against them, and eventually it's going to come back and bite us. Had as bad as Holton played today, had he not thrown that pick six, we'd have won this football game. We would be sitting here tonight. It's talking about a 3-point win, something like that.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
Yeah, it'd have been an ugly baby win. That's what it would have been. You're right. We'd have won 20-13 or something like that, and we'd have been happy to say, "Man, I'm glad that was done. It's a great."
Yeah, it would have been our first win over South Carolina in 22 years.
That's right, and we'd have been thrilled with it. But also, somebody called that play, and I was sitting there with those that were sitting with me. I'm like, this is one time that I do just want to hand it off, forcing the burn time out.
Me too, Alan.
A half, right? And play smart ball and come out in the second half and, take care of business, even though we had missed a lot of opportunities. But go back and listen to Holton's comments tonight. I really enjoyed hearing him talk in the press conference, and not so much about, blame or casting blame on anybody else. He didn't. But he made some comments about not taking advantage to opportunities underneath in the quick game. Literally said that. So maybe there's some disconnect here between, where his skill set came from and what we're trying to get done. That was only a brief comment that was made, but it really stuck out to me in his comments tonight. And I tell you, if some folks want to stick around here, they got to start finding a way to be productive in a way that will succeed, as Kyle says, because you're absolutely on point here. We've been around for a while, and while we have moved to a different level of ball, we also know what it takes and what you can recruit to here, and we've seen that succeed. And to get it done, I appreciate what some coaches want to do, guys, but at the end of the day, it's about getting W's. Let's no bones about it. South Carolina may not win an SEC game.
No.
They're not good. Maybe when they get the running back and the other quarterback back, but with our opportunity here, if you let an SEC athletic level team stick with you in the fourth quarter, it's going to come back to bite you if you don't get it done. And guys, we need to talk through this loss because it's going to dictate whether we're going to be sitting here at 1-4.
Alan, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you look back, and any of the other guys chime in too, but when you look back at season one, all right, our offense struggled early. Then you remember at the end of the year, the Cincinnati game, the SMU game, the UConn game, and then we stuck it up against Tulsa. But we had a 3-game stretch there where our offense was humming. SMU, Cincinnati, UConn.
Yeah.
All right. Then last year, really starting with the Tulsa game, with the exception of the Cincinnati game, which they were destroying everybody, our offense was pretty good. And then the last 2 games, really good against Temple and against SMU. All right. The beginning of last year, after the end of year 1 being good, our offense sucked. Now, at the beginning of year 3, our offense sucks again after being good at the end of last year. I cannot compute that in my brain. At the end of each year, it looks like the offense is turning the corner. And then the beginning of the year, it looks like they're in a brand new offense again. Like they have no clue what the hell they're doing.
They regress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and some of that comes down to how teams try to approach us. I think what we saw, South Carolina did a cut and paste of what they thought Appalachian did last week, which was try to take away, our underneath guy, that we know is so skilled, and he made a few catches here and there. But some things they tried to take away, we haven't solved yet with personnel. And CJ missed some practice this week, and I don't know the details about that. But we threw 6 completions in the first half.
Yeah, we have way too much talent. We have way too much talent at receiver. Josiah Hatfield, C.J. Johnson, Tyler Snead. You mentioned
Ryan Jones.
You mentioned the tight end room with Ryan Jones, Calhoun, and then the kid from North Lenoir that was the number 2 tight end at Temple and had seen significant playing time at Temple. Has he even stepped on the damn field?
I haven't seen him.
Special teams, and those do create matchup opportunities. And look, at some point when we've allowed Holton just to take off and go, that's a vital part of our offense. vital. And sometimes you just got to make that decision. And coaches, if you don't trust your number 2 guy and number 3 quarterback, that you aren't doing your job. That's my point. So at some point, Cincinnati, they, their quarterback takes off, list the teams that the quarterbacks, you got to let them play ball at some point. If we're going to, today would have been a great time with a game on the line to set some specific plays to allow Holton to be in a position, 5 or 6 plays in that second half. And he did run a couple.
Yeah.
Let him be a more vital part of that offense. But we ran the ball 38 times today, guys. What do we throw it? 20 sometimes. And I don't know if we were just trying to, rope-a-dope this thing and find a way to win by 3. Maybe we were. But you're right, Kyle. Once we lost that momentum in the first half, we never really regained it. Although we took advantage of a short field, and were able to do some things. And we've got a functional issue. You talk about the Jimmys and Joes, that's true, but also the scheme right now. We got some structure.
It is more scheme, and I even think people say the O line's bad. I watch the O line at times.
I think they're fine,
and I think they're all right, particularly if we get rid of the damn ball faster.
Yep.
I mean, you look back under, and I know Lincoln Riley's offense was Lincoln Riley's offense, but when you're running that scheme, Jiminy Christmas, I can probably play a line of down or 2 because you get rid of the ball so fast. You're spread so wide, your gaps are so big. You literally just got to take care of that man in front of you for a couple of seconds.
Hey guys, we got some comments we want to get to. There's appreciate everybody if you chime in tonight on Facebook Live, of course, on our YouTube channel, on Twitter. We'll get as many comments as we can. We have so many people that are putting up the comments tonight. So Bubba, whenever you want to put those up. Brian Pace is saying Houston is too conservative. Skip got away with it because he had an elite defense, but he had quarterbacks who could manage the game. We don't have that right now. They even bit Skip a couple times.
I told Jessica after all the way to the game, I said, if Houston wants to not be conservative, I said, he needs to get Skip on the phone. I said, Skip would have never thrown that middle screen at the end of the first half. If you're going to be conservative, go ahead and be all the way conservative.
Commit to it. That's right. You're either all in or you're all out in that scenario, right?
Yep.
But it shouldn't have come to that. I don't think Holton in this offense, Holton can't get in rhythm.
Here you go, baby.
But it's good to hear Pays. I mean, Pays was part of the conversation that we had post game here prior to all this, Kyle, and some of the comments. And there's a lot of folks and something I mentioned to Brian, which I think needs to be discussed here as well. We can't put this program on skates. You can't look to fire a guy every 2 or 3 years. There's never going to be any continuity. There's enough positive here I see, but it's up to Houston at this point, whether you make a change.
And I agree with you. You shouldn't look to fire a guy, but the problem is there's contracts, Alan, and you know as well as I do. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if Houston goes 2-10, 3-8, this is year 3, which means he has 2 years left on his contract. After year 3, you normally got to extend or fire.
Right.
Because it hurts you so much from a recruiting standpoint to be sitting there with 2 years left on your contract. And I'm not saying that it's going to get fired at the end of this year. And I'm not saying we're going to go 2-10 or 3-9, but it's a conversation that if we do go 3-9, it's the conversation is going to happen.
Well,
because
from a talent standpoint, from a macro standpoint, we got a lot of talent potentially, as long as guys don't decide to leave early or transfer or whatever. Next year, I mean, I think we have an opportunity for a peak year in 2022. But also, you got to show some progress in scheme and approach and taking advantage of the talent you had this year. And it can cost you your job quick if you aren't willing to do that. That's why I mentioned the Coach Ruff scenario. 2 years into his deal, he was going nowhere fast and was about to lose his job, even with a Lincoln Riley running an offense. And some tough assessments were made and some changes were made that, for his tenure, quite, frankly, turned that around for a period of time. So,
and if you remember the 2013 season, I mean, we had 10 wins, the second in school history with a number of wins. So everybody can talk about, how Conference USA was weak or whatever. We still won.
Well, to be quite frank, if you actually go back and look at it, even Brian, what was his damn name? What was that DC's name? Brian
Mitchell.
Brian Mitchell's last year here, we went 8-4.
Yeah.
we, the defense lost us the Marshall game, we beat Marshall, but we had to put up 60-some points to do it. And then the bad performance in the bowl game against Louisiana Lafayette. But that was after an 8-4 season. They got rid of Brian Mitchell. So let alone we have sniffed 8 wins. Look, if we get 8 wins here, with this offense we got now, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah, we weren't playing app and that quality that year. I mean that's for sure. Some of these other guys that we've got stacked up against us. Well, I guess we were by name, but some of these programs have really improved.
Sure.
But look, at the end of the day, today was a winnable game, a game that we should have won. South Carolina wanted to give it to us.
Oh yeah.
And we kept messaging during the game, which you guys were all communicating. How bad do you want it? We still have to learn, even if schematically or whatever else is going on, finding a way to win a ball game, staff. And we in a day where our offense was really struggling, find a way to pick it up and get that win.
Yeah, that ball game should have been over at halftime.
Yeah,
it really should have. And I believe, honest to God, I believe had it been 14-0 at half, it would have been over at half. As weird as that sounds, I still will stand behind that. If we don't give up that pick six, I think we win that ball game. I mean,
I like the aggressiveness of our defense. I like the nose for the ball. Don't forget the first half, they were about to score.
Sure.
We ripped them right through the back of the end zone. So we had some plays that were fortuitous for us, which were great. But I love the way the way our defense was playing. We were stopping the run. We were doing a lot of good things. But when you have whatever it was, 10 or 12 3 and outs on your offense, we know at some point that's going to come back and burn you. And
how many first downs did we pick up today? I bet most of them were on that last offensive drive.
We were 2 for 16 on third downs today. Right? 2 for 16.
2 of 16. Yeah, I mean that right there tells you everything you need to know because there was so. Let's see here. Then we got some more here comments. Richard Allsbrook, we need to give South Carolina's defense some credit. They held us to 2 or 3 first downs, like our D held them to a few first downs until the final drive. We need to do something. We need some offensive identity. I miss the up-to offense. Still love our Pirates.
And Richard makes a great, and we talked about that. The athleticism is there for South Carolina.
Their D line is great,
and nobody's going to say that. They have an exceptional D line. They're vulnerable at DB, the very area which we were not able to attack today. If you're worried about their D line, then you don't do 5-set drops, guys, or you find ways to flare them out or spread them out or do things that that Richard knows we should be doing, and we just aren't doing it schematically. It's definitely not a shot at Holton. First to say you had a bad day, but guys, I mean, there's a lot of things fundamentally that look back and we missed. Go ahead, Kyle.
AT, you mentioned our pregame show with Chris from the Spurs Up podcast. I don't know if you watched what I told him. I said, I think that their quarterback's going to come out and make a bunch of mistakes, and it's going to be a low-scoring game, and we'll have a chance. I said, but I fear because what Mike Houston wants to do offensively is that we're going to lose this football game because, we're going to be too conservative offensively. We're going to try to go toe-to-toe with their defensive line, and we're going to get beat up front. And I nailed it. Everything, toot my own horn. I wish I would have been wrong. But it kind of went exactly how I thought we'd have a chance. But we tried to do things offensively that just didn't work against a good D-line.
Well, and they, they came out with some razzle-dazzle and a few things as we did, because they were struggling to try to make some things happen up front of us. But anyway, guys, I'm going to I hate to bail out right now because it's just the way the schedule worked out today. But I appreciate you so much for having. This is a great show. It's a great format. And it's great when the fans type in and bring questions and get engaged with this. We all want the same thing. We want Pirate football to be back where it needs to be. And it's okay to ask the right questions, guys. And we pay these folks a lot of money to be successful.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks write a lot of checks, and because they're passionate and love this university. It's important for ECU football to be successful on a lot of levels. And I think this is one of those games, that hopefully the staff has taken a really close assessment and an honest assessment of how they're approaching this and put our people in the best position to be successful And the next stress test is going to be up in Marshall next week, and a really good team. Maybe probably somewhere in between talent-wise, capabilities, but somewhere in between Appalachian and the South Carolina team play today. So to win that, we got to raise our level of game. But thank you for having me on the post game here today.
You're awesome. Appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll see you again next week.
All right, Kyle, keep doing your thing, man, and this thanks so much, Dave and Bubba and everybody, and Captain. Appreciate you guys, and let me tell you, that's why we're Pirates. It ain't easy being Pirates, but we love it with a passion, and we're going to keep fighting and yelling for them to get it done. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. CAT.
And one thing what he was talking about there about losing today and asking questions and paying people a lot of money. I really believe today's attendance was. I've never heard the official attendance, but it looked to be the biggest crowd we had in there in a while. And I think by losing that ball game today, we probably cost ourselves about 10,000 people showing up for Charleston Southern.
Yes, right. And welcome into the show, the captain. We were trying to get AT as much as he could because we were running out of time with him. Terry, thank you for being patient, my friend. How are you?
Look, I've got very little to add to what Kyle and Alan was talking about. I did see. I saw a couple things that our quarterback did well. Is he does a good job of drawing the defense off sides.
I tell you, I think that I was going to say that I think the offensive defensive teams for South Carolina, because of the crowd, I think the crowd was louder than what I expected. But I think that there was a couple times, especially down in the student section, the Boneyard, 40,816 in attendance today, according to Bubba Rosenbaum. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you very much for that.
Terry, what did you see out there? I mean, you're a former player. You coached high school at a high level. What did you see out there today from a schematic standpoint on what the hell we're trying to do on offense against a defense like that? Are you seeing what me and AT saw? It doesn't make a lot of sense what we're trying to do when you're playing that kind of D-line.
I'm not so sure it's that or it's look, we still have problems. It comes down to execution, how you execute your offense. And when you're going three and out, then you start having issues with the quarterback goes upfield, then pitches it 3 yards upfield. He forward pass, little things like that start giving. It's hard to call plays when you have doubt in your mind about how it's going to be executed. So you start trying to call plays based on what you think possibly can happen. And also, we've got to find more receivers to throw to than just Snead and CJ. We do a pretty good job hitting the backside of the backfield, but we got to have more than two receivers catching the ball. And so there's so much you get into. You can nitpick. You can talk about the players, the coaches. I heard there wasn't many hot dogs left, available at one point in the game.
Terry ate about 20 of them. So
actually, no, Terry's not joking. There was a lot of complaints about concessions today. A lot of complaints about concessions.
Well, guess what? You know what? We were off our game because we had nobody there last year.
We're not used to having.
There's no excuses. There's no excuses.
I'm joking. You need to. It's like a party, and whatever you let's say you have 20 people over your house, you need to have enough for 40 people, right? Am I wrong on that?
Well, we've in the past we haven't had more than 7,000 at the game, so we might have had plenty for what we.
Well, we know. We know it was going to be.
We knew based on ticket sales. We knew based on ticket sales it was going to be low. 40s.
Oh yeah, I make light, but look, I make light of it.
I personally think. Look, here's you want me to get down to brass tacks on. I think our whole athletic department has been mismanaged ever since Terry Holland left.
I agree with that. Terry Holland,
from Jeff Confer, Jeff Confer was really easy to hate. The problem with John Gilbert is he's not easy to hate, but he's about as effective as taking a knife to a gunfight.
Well, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so am I. But you know what?
I don't know about that.
What you are?
You
Well,
can be
I can
abrasive
be.
now, Kyle.
I can be, but I just, you
That
know,
was
That's the
easy,
good.
Kyle.
That's your good part.
yeah, I just don't. I just don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see a sense of urgency from our athletic
Yeah.
department. Like this stuff with the Big 12. Let's talk. We'll get back to the game.
Well,
This
yeah.
stuff with the
know.
Big 12. In 2013, I had a conversation with Terry Holland. Terry Holland, I talked about how we just got the Big East. Now it's the American. It lost BCS status. And he said, Kyle, it doesn't matter. He said, we're the next group that will be elevated to Power 5 or BCS at the time will come from. He said, they're going to come from this conference. There will be another expansion in a few years. And we just need to put ourselves in position when that happens, because now we're going to be in the group they're going to come from. He said, we just need to put ourselves in position to be ready when that happens. We did the complete effing opposite. We couldn't sniff the Big 12 now if we had to. And you can laugh and poke fun at the Big 12 all you want, but I'd rather be there than here. I'd rather be Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston than East Carolina right now. And it's because our athletic department has been mismanaged to death. And it all started, and prior to Jeff Converse, it started with a bunch of assholes who thought they knew what was best for ECU. A bunch of elitists who ran Holland off, and then the same people let Confer run Ruffin off, and it ran us into the ground.
They brought Cecil in. And they brought Cecil in.
Yeah, I brought Cecil in. Oh, don't forget about Cecil. And then we brought Dave Hart in. Dave Hart was going to be the savior. Dave Hart didn't give a shit about what was going on in East Carolina. By the way, you ever got the results of that deep dive? And all he did was hire his buddy. John Gilbert was his buddy from Tennessee, and that's why John got the job. And look, I'm not knocking John Gilbert as a whole, but John Gilbert is not an out in front leader. John Gilbert does not get after it and get you excited and get this fan base fired up and all together. I mean, he just doesn't. And we got Mike Houston, and Mike Houston's who most of us wanted. And bottom line is what we're talking about today is a football game. But Mike Houston's not getting it done. This is year number 3. And I know last year was a COVID year, but you know what? Everybody had COVID. It wasn't just East Carolina experiencing a COVID year.
In fairness, but wait a minute on that point. I'm glad you brought that up. Not everybody has had to deal with the crap that we dealt with before.
I don't care. No excuses, Dave. No excuse. All right, I'll give you Coastal Carolina. How about you know why Coastal Carolina's having success? Because they have a head coach that has an offensive scheme that he ran at the FCS ranks. He brought it up to the FBS ranks. It is his scheme. Houston ran triple option at the Citadel. He ran what he ran now at JMU. He's a football coach. The guy down at Coastal has a scheme, a system he runs, and he's going to take that system with him everywhere. And that is what he's going to run. And that's what we need in East Carolina. We need something. And Mike Houston can do it. Go get you an offensive coordinator. And I love Donnie. Donnie's a hell of a receivers coach. And Donnie may be doing exactly what Mike Houston's telling him to do. But we need to be running something with some tempo that spreads the ball around. That's what we need to be doing, because right now what we're doing, not only is it not working, it has no identity. I don't know what offense we're running. Terry, what offense are we? What would you refer to our style of offense as?
I wouldn't. I can't tell you that because I just don't know exactly what you want to call it. But it's like I say, it don't matter. It don't matter what style or what scheme or anything else if we don't execute. And by execution,
right,
I mean
if you have
we got to have 11 people doing the 11 things correct on each play in order for us to be successful. Bottom line.
But if you have a system like Lincoln Riley has, or Blake Anderson has at Utah State, or Jamie Chadwell has down in Coastal Carolina, you have a system. You know what's expected of it, and it's easy to teach it, and it's easy to execute it because you have a system. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, well, if the offense keeps struggling, I said, I wonder if Donnie would be demoted during the season. But here's another problem, guys. Look at our offensive staff. There's nobody else on that staff, to my knowledge, with any offensive coordinator experience, which that indicates a hell of a problem right there. the fact that there's nobody else on this staff qualified to be offensive coordinator, to my knowledge. We don't have a very good offensive staff.
Well,
Steve
Shankweiler
Shankweiler has been an offensive coordinator. Yeah, he's been an offensive coordinator, but it's been eons ago. I mean, back when Terry was playing. But,
whoa, wait a minute.
whoa. Hey,
He's not that old. He's not that old.
Besides Shank, I mean, who else on the staff could call plays?
Here's the crazy part about this whole thing is the defense. I won't say they play out of their mind, but they play. That's the best defensive performance we've seen in a good while.
Yeah, it is, Dave, but I think their offense sucks.
No, I know that, but still, in the past, our defense would have made them look like, I wouldn't say Alabama would, but our defense in the past would have been making missing a lot of places. They played a lot better. And
they played hard today. They played very hard today. They got after it. They played downhill. They pursued to the ball. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they played a lot better.
Had we made the field goal we missed?
Yep.
The pick six is the difference.
Had we not thrown 2 interceptions, had we not on the some of the sacks, it's he's got to get to that point where it's time to throw it and throw it away. Just get rid of it rather than take a sack.
It's year 3. I don't know. It's year 3. I don't think he's going to.
But he don't always step up in the pocket like you should, because eventually it starts. They're just running around people, and if he keeps going backwards, he's just running to where they're running to.
Terry, if he's our best option,
if
he's our best option.
Well,
if he's our best option, we know he has. So let me ask you this: if he's our best option, if that's the case, and then that's what Houston keeps saying, do you just tell him, son, if it ain't there, you're not good at making reads. You're an athlete. Pull it down and run it every time. If it ain't there, if you go through your 3, if you take a 3-step drop.
I'm not so sure that he didn't get a little rattled when he made that good run and got tackled at the end of it. He looked like he was maybe not exactly all there.
Then he should have been taken out of the game.
Well, I do question that. Yeah, I would have taken him out for a play or two, or called time out at least.
Yeah,
in this day and age of concussions and CTE, you take him out of the game. You put in. Look, if Garcia can't do it, you put in the other kid. I mean. Stubblefield. I mean,
Stubblefield fits more, and I'll say this too. Stubblefield is exactly. I think what the problem we have right now is you heard Coach Houston in fall camp. They have flashes of greatness, right? They're not quite there. And the other kids. So the problem we have now is
Holton, Dave.
Well,
I think. Here's what I think is wrong. You've been talking about scheme. You're absolutely right. What you have to do is you have to make Holton Ahlers, you got to play to his strengths. We have a ton of playmakers on offense, Our defense is playing all together, and all you have to do is get those guys and let them make plays. The problem is we have a leash on them where we're not letting them make plays, and we're not putting them in a scheme where it makes Holton look like he doesn't know what he is a good football player. I'm sick and tired of hearing Pirates say he's not a good football player. Let him be Holton. He's not.
They were playing. What they would do is after first down, they would rush 7 and go man across, and their corners. We got to do a better job of not getting held up in that tight coverage, because it looks like a lot of times we just run into them as opposed to finding a way to get by people or use a way to there's a way for a receiver to not get held up.
Well, how about you're right, and that's another thing. That's another thing, Terry. Our receiver development's been terrible.
So we got a good.
C.J. Johnson has not gotten any better since he was here as a true freshman. And I don't understand that. I do not understand that.
I do. This week,
Well,
for example, he didn't practice that much. Something with his body, as coach.
I didn't know anything about that.
Well,
What's
had he
happening,
not
and
practiced,
you have, and one of the problems CJ has is everybody knows. All you have to do is talk a bunch of smack to him, get in his face, hold his jersey, and emotionally he can't handle it. That's what CJ, not coach,
set his ass down.
CJ has to work on.
That's why I say
You set his ass down, Dave.
We've got to utilize other receivers.
Yep.
Josiah Hatfield is amazing. Look what every time he touches the ball, does amazing. He's one of the most.
He's not a big guy. He's not a very big guy either.
I mean, he's got
so,
a lot of talent. We got to use him.
So who else?
Look at the first play of the game. Look at the first play.
That was fine.
We got to get them. We have playmakers. I'm telling you, we have talent.
We have talent. Sure, we have talent, but
we have the talent. We have.
What do you? Well, I mean, what you talk about people saying that Holton can't play? He's not a good quarterback.
We just.
Well, what do you expect them to say when that's what they see? So we either have to blame the talent, or we have to blame the coaching. So
I said that we're not allowing him to his strengths. He's not.
So Donnie Kirkpatrick and Mike Houston don't know what the hell they're doing on offense. That's what you're saying.
I just said all I'm saying is let him. They used to do it. If you notice, they would have some design plays for him.
Yeah, they used to do it at the end of each football season. I talked about that earlier. I don't understand it.
I don't understand
it.
I'm agreeing with you. Go for broke now. Go for broke now.
At the end of season 1, season 2, our offense looked good. And then at the beginning of season 2 and the beginning of season 3, our offense looked like utter crap again. I don't understand what happened.
Don't wait till you're 3-6 and begging.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's ridiculous.
I agree with you. You and I are saying basically the same thing differently, I think. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Holton can be a good quarterback. You look at the Tulsa game last year.
He has talent. That's what makes me mad. Notice I didn't say the kid played great today. I'm not kissing his butt. He said he played bad. I'm agreeing with that. What I'm saying is if you want the kid to have a chance to win, this team to have a chance to win, let them. There's so many players. How about Ryan Jones? We do talk about the tight end room. There's a whole bunch of great receivers. I don't think necessarily the offensive line played as bad as I thought.
No, nobody said
it takes too long to develop downfield.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying what you expect, like in your mindset, would be the offensive line may play bad or whatever, but they didn't play bad.
When you see sacks, people automatically assume it's on the offensive line. That's not always the case.
No. I'm just saying. I know. I'm just saying what you would expect, and they actually. I thought they held their own today to a SEC defensive line that's great with at least one defensive guy, a line guy that's going first round next year. You got 2 5-star recruits on that D line. So I mean, I'm not complaining about the offensive line. That's what I thought would happen, and I was wrong. That they would be suspect today, but they actually played okay. What I'm saying is. It's something. There's a disconnect there somewhere when you have that kind of talent. The offensive line played well. I think it's consistency of again, and you know something else, guys. It was crazy. Is how many times we've seen it over the last 6 years where we can play between the 20s. We can move the ball up and down the field, but once it gets in that red zone, man, we're like lost or something. I don't know. We need to have some. We need to have some design plays when we get inside the 20. I don't give a damn if it's 1st and 10, 3rd and 10, 2nd and 10. You know, throw it on first down if you have to. Anything is better than being predictable. But anyway, we'll get some more. Let's get some more while we have a chance. We've got a lot of great guys chiming in here tonight. Brian Pace says that Garcia is going to be in the transfer portal.
It's possible.
South Carolina took their quarterback out to make a couple plays and to try to change momentum. How about our good friend, guy we like a lot, another VP has always been good to us. How about Josh O'Neill? I would wonder if I did not get a chance to play soon. It breaks my heart saying that I consider Holton a friend, graduated from the same high school. For the schemes our coaching staff is just wanting to execute. 100% believe he is the better quarterback overall, but neither coaching staff has ever wanted to play his strengths. Thank you, Josh. Absolutely 100% agree with you on that. That's what I'm saying.
How are we not playing to his strengths?
Because I tell you exactly why. We want him to be something he's not. Like
What?
Kyle's talking about.
So what are we wanting him to be?
We want him to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, to be a pocket, like in the pocket, professional. Like, that's not his style. That's not what makes him who he is. So you try to make him something he's not. Great coaches. Listen, this is what I will say for the coaching staff. Great coaches find out what talent they have and they adapt to those guys, and they put it's wins and losses. It's wins and losses. Kyle was talking about it's wins and losses. So if we go with wins and losses,
well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
But if we only want him to roll out or to bootleg or play action, then we got to be able to run the ball too.
No, I know. I'm
play
saying
action and bootleg don't work if you can't run the ball.
Well, one thing I wonder why we don't do more with him, and I think we did it today on maybe a touchdown. He should be a good zone read guy. Why don't we? What do we do some more zone reads with him where we're faking it to the back and then let him pull it down and run it more? We probably should do that a lot more with him.
Looked like we did try to do some of that, and in fact, that's what he scored the touchdown on.
Yeah,
he pulled it, and in fact, the running back would have scored 2 on that play.
Yeah,
because at that point in time, our offensive line was pushing them back off the ball on the snap. But I'm not. Again, it's not that we're trying to turn him into a drop back quarterback. It's that just by the nature of the shotgun, it's a drop back. That's what you do with a drop back. If it's a shotgun quarterback, that's what a shotgun is a pre-drop. So all we're going to do if we start moving him left or right is we just shut off half the field. You can't go when you start just rolling right or left, then you're taking away part of the field to the quarterback. Because if you start expecting him to throw back across the field, then that's not going to work. But again, I didn't see us throw down the middle deep today.
That's what I was going to say. Look, here's my thing, and that's another thing. I'm glad you said that, Captain Bunk. You set me up. I was going to say earlier in the broadcast, and I forgot. Is the very fact that we need to keep the defense honest, and Holton does have an arm on it. And hey, even if you try a couple times down the field just to surprise the defense, you never know. You might get a 15-yard penalty where they're holding CJ or one of the pass interference on the defense, whatever the case may be. But when we're not throwing the deep ball, he can throw the deep ball. And to Kyle's point, this is his 4th year. This is 4th year. He's a senior technically. I don't know if he's going to be here next year or not, but he has the ability to throw it. He knows the playbook. Let him throw the deep ball. They're not throwing that. They're not doing that enough, in my opinion.
Well,
Go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Well, they keep saying he's our best option, and if he's our best option, and that's the best he can do, then you've done a piss poor job recruiting. Because, unless you're going to admit that what we're doing offensively sucks, if you keep saying that he's our best option, then you've done a piss poor job evaluating talent for the guys behind him. I say let somebody else have a shot, just for nothing else. We'll see. All right, yeah, he's even worse than Holton. We know it's the scheme now, or at least what we're trying to do out of that scheme. I'd give somebody else a shot at some point if it continues down this path. What's it going to hurt? What difference is it going to make?
Just to change the subject a little bit, whenever we had the ball 4th and goal on the 6, and we kicked the field goal.
That was another 6. That was 7 points.
I would maybe have thought about going ahead and going for it. Because even if we didn't make it, see, by making the field goal, now we kick off to them. Well, that's when they had the long run back.
I understand.
So if we'd have just gone ahead and gone for it, so that's say we don't make it, and the worst we are is on the 6. They get the ball on their 6. Well, shoot, if we'll just hold them, keep them, make them go 3 and out, we're going to get the ball back at midfield. Plus, we move more time off the clock.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I really believe
That's a
what
good
a
point.
lot of our offense was designed to do today was to let the clock run as much as we could let it run, and
Play not
shorten
to
the
lose,
game.
Terry.
Well,
Shorten the game.
I think late in the game that's what we were doing, but at one point I don't think that's what we were doing because
I believe the
I
whole
can tell you
game
something.
we were trying to make it a shorter game.
With
Hey, guys.
that's fine. Had we not thrown that pick six,
That's right.
That would it would have
That's
worked.
it.
It would have
You're right.
worked.
You're right.
Hey, guys, we got Bubba that wants to chime in. Bubba, I know you wanted a couple points.
A minute ago, Terry, you were talking about Holton rolling out. Last week against App State, we were sacked. Holton was sacked 4 times. He was hurried 5 other times. Today, South Carolina sacked him 5 times. So, needless to say, a lot of pressure. And today, I did like there in the second half, we started rolling him out some. You saw some stuff in the flat. Just trying to get the ball out and get something accomplished, some type of positive yardage. But, looking at the numbers for the receivers, this is pretty mind-blowing to see this. When we were talking about involving tight ends, I know Ryan Jones had a drop today. I really don't recall him. I'm trying to remember other targets for tight ends outside of that. There may not have been any.
I think there was one pass to
Calhoun missed one.
Calhoun, okay. So Josiah Hatfield, 2 catches, 90 yards. Obviously, 75 of those came on the opening play of the game from Tyler Snead. So you had Tyler Snead, 5 receptions for 35 yards. C.J. Johnson, 2 for 15. 14 of those yards came on that 4th and 14 or 4th and 13 conversion. Keaton Mitchell, 2 for 7. Rajay Harris, 1 for 5. That's it. So, I mean,
what the hell are we doing? What are we doing?
You take away Josiah Hatfield's 75-yarder. He had two for 15, and then Snead.
No, guys, are you there?
Did we lose Bubba? Bubba,
Yeah,
you
we
there?
all. Bubba, did you mute yourself?
No, it's not showing up.
Bubba, your audio
Hello?
is gone. Yep, you're
There we go.
All right. So, point being that outside of the trick play to start the game, our passing offense was extremely non-existent.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me with the speed Hatfield has, the speed CJ has, with the speed Keaton Mitchell has. Ryan Jones is a hell of an athlete. Something just don't add up, and at some point, it's either scheme or it's quarterback play, or it's a combination of both. And maybe the quarterback's playing that way because of the scheme we're running. And something's got to change. And if Mike Houston and Donnie Kirkpatrick can't see that, then they're both idiots. So I don't. As we hit into the Marshall game this week, you don't hold out a lot of hope that we're going to fix it overnight. There's talent there. I don't think that we don't have talent.
That's not true. Exactly, Kyle.
I don't think anybody's saying that. I haven't heard anybody say it at the skill position. We don't have talent, and if the O-line is holding up at times enough, I just don't understand, man. It's something just is not right with our offense, and this is year 3, and
we would be so happy today had it not been for that pick 6 right before half.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. I would have been happy with the win, with the win, Terry.
Yeah,
but I would not be feeling confident about Marshall next week. I
think Marshall's better than South Carolina.
I don't know about that now. I don't think so.
I think
South Carolina has
more
talent.
Wait a minute. Let me go back. South Carolina is not going to play that. Zeb Nolan will not be their quarterback next week. You watch. They're playing Georgia, South Carolina.
Correct.
Zeb Nolan won't see the field again except as a graduate assistant.
Marshall is better than South Carolina was today.
Offensively, maybe. And even then,
definitely.
Not when they started just giving the ball to the and they had a plethora.
Wait a minute, Bubba. Oh shit, Terry. Wait a minute now.
They had a plethora of running backs.
Wait a minute now. You might want to go check Marshall's defensive stats for the last 2 years. They've been a top 25 defense.
Yeah, but look at their conference.
Still, hey,
they beat the hell out of Appalachian State.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, Marshall is.
Yep.
Don't think that Marshall is like. I mean, I'm
not saying
that
they're easy to beat or anything. I'm just saying they don't have
South
SEC.
Carolina has more talent than Marshall.
Yeah,
South Carolina has more talent than App State. South Carolina is not as good as App State. App State would walk the dog on South Carolina, but South Carolina has more talent than them. It's not about the talent,
right?
It's about the complete package. It's the finished product's better than the sum of its parts.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Richard Allsbrook chimed in a few minutes ago. What was the trick play on the 4th down today? Tyler Snead was taking a snap. When I was talking about C.J. Johnson's 14-yard reception on that 4th down conversion,
I believe they're going to throw it
on the
to
Pirates
the
sideline.
I believe they were going to throw it to the snapper, who was our tight end, number 80.
Okay.
It was a trick play from Steve.
You recall there was a timeout called by South Carolina, which bailed us out. So when we had the bad snap,
I guess it bailed us out. Might have been better off.
That's right. That's right. You never know. But number 80 snapped it, and usually when that's the case, then there was he was the eligible man on the end of the line of scrimmage. So if nobody was on him, a lot of times they don't cover the guy that snaps it. People just forget. Right? Yeah. So
Marshall crushed Navy. In fact, Brian Pace said that Navy fired their offensive coordinator today. Right
Ivan Jasper.
Air Force crushed them too, Brian. I mean, they put up 3 points.
Air Force.
Their offense is atrocious. So I mean, I don't know what's happened at Navy. They've
personnel. I'm sure they don't have as good personnel as they've had.
Well, maybe Navy. Navy's never been somewhere that relied on personnel. They relied on scheme.
No, but they've had some quality quarterbacks and
Keenan Reynolds and Malcolm Perry.
Right.
Malcolm Perry.
That goes through cycles with the military schools.
Man, but Navy's been good going back to 05.
Well, they're
consistently good.
They usually don't beat themselves.
Yep, they've been consistently good going back to
right.
Old homeboy that was at Georgia Tech that's from up in Newland. What's his name?
Oh yeah,
Paul Johnson.
Paul Johnson.
Yep. I tell you what. What's Bubba? I don't know if you're.
We are 0-0 in the conference.
Can anybody give scores, or does anybody get that Marshall NC Central score?
That what score?
Marshall NC Central.
Now, let me get that. I can get it in just a second.
Okay, they're currently playing Central.
App State is only 2 behind Miami in the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, no, App looks good. They're the real deal. I just 30. It's Marshall 37, North Carolina Central 7.
There you go. Thank you, and Paige just put that up as well. Marshall. I know it's North Carolina Central, but Marshall's a good team, and I'm telling you, look, here's the deal. Next week, we always talk about the next game is important, and we got to go 1-0.
It's huge. It's huge.
Hey. We need to go for broke. Go for broke. Throw every play out there. Pretend like that your job is on the line, no matter if you're a player. Coach. No, I'm serious. We need what's missing right now for me. I thought about this in the first half today, guys, and I told our friend Steve Parker from the EC football page on Facebook. The bottom line is urgency. We don't have any urgency like that right now. We're 0-2, and I'm sorry if the coaching staff gets mad at me for saying that, but that's the way it feels. Open the playbook. Let's go for broke next week in Marshall. We don't have a freshman quarterback. We have a guy that's been there for 4 years. We have a whole bunch of talent.
The coaching staff's going, I've been okay with what everybody else has said, but now that Dave has said this, oh, my God.
What?
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm just saying go for broke. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You're 0-2. What do you have to lose?
No, I agree with you 100%. Throw out everything. I mean,
I would say we're not holding anything back now.
Well, my God.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Yes, we are.
I
Yes,
mean,
we
we're not
are.
playing to lose. It's just,
We did today. We did today. We were conservative
uh,
on offense. The defense played out of their mind, considering what we've had in the past. They played great. I tell you one thing: if the offense could match the defense, we would be competing for a championship in the American this year.
Playing conservative on offense may have been the right plan, but you need to go Skip Holtz conservative. You need to be all in on it. Skip Holtz wouldn't call that. Skip Holtz wouldn't call that middle screen
all the way.
Well, we'd have won today. We'd have won today. But I agree with you. Next week against Marshall, we need to come up with something creative. We need to find a way to beat Marshall, because if we're 0-3, nobody's going to give a crap about beating Charleston Southern. The boys might enjoy it, but nobody's going to give a crap about it.
If we're 0-3, we'll all be happy to win one.
I don't care about Charleston.
No, we
Southern.
need it. If you do the math,
then you got Tulane after that. You got Tulane after that. Tulane's playing. I don't know what they did today. That's another score. Has anybody seen the Tulane score? They looked good against Oklahoma State Oklahoma last week. So Tulane's a good football team. Houston,
Tulsa only lost by 5, I think, to Oklahoma State today.
They who what now? Huh?
Tulsa.
Who were they playing?
Oklahoma State.
Okay. Well, Tulane won today, 69-20. They were playing Morgan State.
that's
nonetheless 69-20. So Tulane's got a good offense based on week 1 and week 2.
Hey guys,
go ahead.
Our good buddy Matt Semenza puts besides the very first play, how many?
Hey Matt, how about that over under? Well, go ahead and say what Matt said.
No, he said besides the very first play, how many vertical shots did we take? 0. Hello,
but
McFly.
But we might have had them called on those sacks. I'm not sure. I didn't see the downfield route.
Going for it. Keep going for it. Even if that's the thing, is you can't be more conservative and play not to lose. You lose every time you play not to lose. I don't buy that. I don't buy that a bit.
I wasn't just by saying we were trying to take run clock off them, but I'm not saying we were playing conservatively.
If we were playing Alabama, the only way you have a chance to win is to run as much clock as you can. But playing South Carolina, we had a chance to win today. That's the thing. Alabama, we have no shot to win. I mean, there's no way you can
here's what Terry's saying. Our game plan would have worked had we not thrown the damn pick. The bottom line,
maybe.
Execution.
It would have.
Offensive play execution.
It would have. Our game plan would have worked.
We did execute today. So
it still, in my opinion, was a crappy game plan, but it would have worked, and it would have got us the W.
And if we'd have won, it'd have been a great game plan.
No, I wouldn't have liked it anyway. I believe me.
I'd have liked it.
I would have taken the win. I would have celebrated the win and been thrilled we beat South Carolina, but I would not think we were going to beat Marshall next week. So, or Tulane.
I would have enjoyed the victory over South Carolina.
I would have enjoyed the victory huge. Hey, look, Terry, I brought a cooler full of beer. I was going to go hang out in the parking lot with Dave and Bubba and whoever else wanted to hang out after the game if we won. But being we lost, I hit it home. I did get something to eat first, and I hit it home. But
where's the beer?
Beer's in the fridge. I drank. I had a mixed drink. I had a mixed drink at Cheddar's, and I came home and drank one beer and fell asleep. So didn't too much drinking get done. But anyway, there's a lot of questions to be answered on offense, and unfortunately, I mean, unfortunately, guys, I think we're in for a long year.
Just remember it's game 2.
Yeah, it is. You're right, but I think there's pieces there to be fixed, but it's just I don't know how many more of these long years we can take. You don't want to get into a situation with musical coaches, but boy, I tell you,
if will I really believe next year could be a whole new horizon, but you got to get there.
That's right. And when you think about it, there's a lot of guys like when App had their super seniors this year. If we can somehow find a way to go to a bowl this year, there's a lot of guys that can come back next year.
We
What,
we
you
need
don't
to find a way to win one.
Go to a
Well,
bowl.
I know that, but I'm saying there are
Not
winnable games.
just
I'm not bailing on the season, but you have to have the way you start winning is by focus on your next game, and that's Marshall. And it is
Yeah,
a chance to,
yeah. Look, we can talk about trying to get to a bowl if we upset Marshall next week. Right now, I don't. I don't toilet bowl. I mean, no. It's what I've seen what I saw today offensively. The last 2 weeks offensively, it ain't capable of getting us to no bowl. Unfortunately, I would, I'd love to know what Mike Houston's thinking right now. Does he say, "Hey, what am I doing offensively? This ain't working," or does he think he's headed down the right path? Some people are very stubborn, and I said a lot of this, and I'll say it again. I said a lot of this to Chris on our preview show that I figured we would lose this game because of what we're trying to do on offense, and I said that I thought South Carolina would come in, and if old Zeb played quarterback, that they would be one-dimensional, and that Zeb would make mistakes, and that we would have a chance to win. But could we do it because of what Houston was trying to do on offense? And boy, if I didn't nail it.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, guess what? Hey, it's like Elvis. I'm going to do my Elvis right now. It's now or never. And like I said, go for broke. You can, I'm just saying over and over again. So hopefully somebody, hey, guess what?
What do you mean by go for broke?
I think that just what, like you talked about, you and I are saying different. We're saying the same things differently. What I'm saying is we need to pretend like that our season's on the line next week because, hey, you can't just keep saying, well, guys, we've got a lot of games left. Guys, we got a lot of games with, and then they go to the middle of the season. Oh God, we only have 4 or 5 games left.
But what do you? I mean, from an offensive standpoint, how do you fix it next week? What do you do?
Well, like I said, you look at your strengths, what you have. You have a scheme that matches the players that you have.
Well, we can't change our scheme in a week.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying like to throw 50,000 plays at them at one time. I'm just saying, but there are some things that you can do with the players we have. If we didn't have talent, we're trying to master.
Oh, there's lots of things you can do with the players we have, but if you, from a scheme standpoint, you kind of got to run what you've practiced. So, is there plays in the scheme? I've seen it in the past SMU game, for example. That there is ways to open this offense up more. That's what you're talking about.
Like Matt, like our friend Matt Semenza said. They don't run the zone read. I mean, you got a guy like Holton Ahlers that can run that.
Yeah, I said that earlier. Yes, that's in our playbook. Run more of that. Yeah. So what you're trying to say is we need to look in our playbook, find some plays that we have in the system that is more conducive to our talent, and run those plays.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying to throw out our, don't throw out the baby.
I think it needs to be completely thrown out, but you just can't do that in 1 week.
I mean, hey, I agree with you, but I'm just saying that we got to do something, right? I mean,
I would look. I think we need. I do think we have 2 good running backs, and I think we need to be more creative about how they get the ball in their hands more. Roger Harris and Keaton Mitchell are both good running backs, and I think we need to be more creative about how we get the ball in their hands more. And I think having Holton pull it, because we do have 2 good running backs and running more zone read. And let me tell you something else. The kid from South Carolina, what's his name? The quarterback,
Garcia,
has the ability to run zone read. So if Holton has got some concussion issues, you may be better off at least rotating Garcia in some to give us that look. If you're uncomfortable doing it with Holton a lot, you don't. You can play 2 quarterbacks. Playing 2 quarterbacks.
Stubblefield too. Isn't he from Houston? He knows how to run the zone read. If my memory serves me right, he's one hell of an athlete.
I mean, you can play 2 quarterbacks. I mean, it's at this point, I wouldn't be against that to change up the look.
Couldn't you get Stubblefield to run the Wildcat? Like I'm saying, like specific plays, like a play here.
I don't know. I don't know how athletic Stubblefield is. Is he our most athletic quarterback?
He's very athletic. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I thought Garcia was our most athletic quarterback. But hey, for that matter, can Keaton Mitchell take snaps? Let's put him in at Wildcat. I mean, we need something to a change of pace.
Josh O'Neill says split snaps.
Yeah, splits. Yeah, I mean, not 50-50, but
no.
Playing more than one quarterback at this point might not be a bad idea.
Hey, right now, like I said, because if you go down 0-3 and then you say then you after Marshall and you have Charleston Southern, you go 1-3. Then you have the Tulane game. You could say 1-4. I mean, if you're not careful, that's half the season right there. I mean, almost right. I mean, so you do the math. It's going to be very, very difficult to go.
We have Tulane, Houston, and UCF all 3 in a row.
Right.
So
the games after that are winnable games, but you have to go through the toughest games minus the Cincinnati game, which is very hard. Then that's our Thanksgiving gift. But if you look at the games right there, like
Temple, as I saw earlier, I don't know what the final ended up being, but they had a bounce back today. They beat the crap out of Akron. Not that that's saying a lot, but it's an FBS opponent.
They needed that, yeah, no doubt. Like we needed South Carolina today. So,
I look. If you look, here's the disappointing thing about not getting the South Carolina win. If you won today and you take care of Charleston Southern, that would have been 2-2 to start the year. Even if we'd have lost all those games we just talked about, then you come back and you have that streak where you're playing Navy, Temple, South Florida all in a row. Yep. Then bam, you could have got to 5 wins, and then you got 2 shots to pull off an upset against Memphis and Cincinnati to get to a bowl. So now we've really dug ourselves a hole, and
you got to win 2 straight, baby. Got to win 2 straight.
I'm not feeling I don't feel very confident about our chances to beat Marshall.
So you think we're going to Huntington and we're going to lay an egg?
Yeah.
If the team played, yeah, you're right. If the offense plays like they did today, there might be, when people are saying 4 went 4-8.
By the way, if just so everybody knows, where you're watching us, if you're watching on Facebook, if that's where you're watching this show, that's where you'll watch the Marshall game next week, because Conference USA's television deal is ridiculous, and the Marshall game is being streamed on Facebook. On Facebook.
Yep.
So get ready.
The next 2 weeks, by the way, folks, are at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock next week in Huntington against Marshall, and then we have the Charleston Southern game is also a 6 o'clock game at Dowdy-Ficklin for the next 2 weeks. So just remember 6 p.m. the next 2 weeks.
Facebook.
All right, how about this from Richard Allsbrook? Okay, talk about systems. 2 prior ECU quarterbacks left. Minshew and Benkert both left and had success in other systems, right?
Oh, that's very, very true. Yes. Benkert would have been successful under
Scotty ran him away.
Yeah, well, he would have been successful under Ruffin's system. Had Benkert been here, Dave Nickel would have been fine. Hell, if we'd have had Nelson under Nickel, he would have been fine. We'd had Minshew under Nickel, he would have been fine. And then, he went to UVA and did well, and Gardner Minshew got out of here and turned it into an NFL career. So your offensive coordinator and what you're running can make a huge difference in how you look as a quarterback. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I look, God knows the losses we had under Scotty Montgomery were ridiculous, but there were times our offense looked 100 times better under Montgomery than it has under Houston. I mean, I'm telling you, I hate to say it, but it's true.
Well, we're going to have to definitely it's such a cliche, but going back to the drawing board.
Me and Bubba were talking earlier today. All Houston does is not get blown out at this point. All he does is not get blown out. Our teams play hard and they're competitive, but we still lose. Now, we just lose more competitively than we did under Montgomery.
So what we have to do now is we've gone from being god awful to competitive, and now we have
year 3, Dave. This is year 3.
I know, but still,
the building process on offense is not happening. What we're doing on offense is broken. Just period.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just saying that it's
we could be winning with the right offense. We could look if we just had a so-so offense, we'd be 1-1 right now, and feeling pretty good about our shot at Marshall.
We definitely are on the same page, all of us on this show, that we should have won today. There's no excuses that we didn't win, and so what we're saying is just go. We're going to go for it and do whatever we have to do, right?
That's right. We lose Terry?
Yep, he said, "Gotta go, go Pirates!" Arg! That's. I'll do that for Captain Bunk. So appreciate you, Captain Bunk and Alan Thomas tonight for sure. I tell you what, disappointed, but I'm still a Pirate. We're gonna be rooting hard next week.
I think we beat this horse to death.
What do you? What do you? I'll leave you with this, Kyle and Bubba, if you want to chime in before we go. And I appreciate all the great. We've got so many great listeners and Pirate fans and viewers commenting tonight. There, let's see. Let me put one more comment from Josh O'Neill. Dave, I agree. There's a jazz within the coaching staff to make this year bowl eligible. So we're gonna find a way. It sucks. I hate losing to South Carolina.
Yeah, you know what? And that's something I don't like actually. I heard Holton talk after the Appalachian State game about getting to 6. We got to get to 6. Look, let me tell you something.
Get to 12.
Yeah, exactly. Skip Holtz used to say, some people are scared to shoot for the moon because they're scared they might miss and hit the stars. Or you shoot for the stars, you scared might miss and hit the moon. The goal shouldn't be get to 6. The goal should be let's win 12. Let's win the conference championship.
Because if you win 12, if you say you're going to win 12, you win 9. If you say you're going to win
exactly. So I don't like that. That's the goal. If you want to have a goal board and that be one of your goals, that's fine. But that shouldn't be the ultimate goal. Oh my God, 6 wins. We've made it now. I mean, it's for from a fan standpoint. I think that was our realistic expectations for this year. But I don't like that coming out of our players' mouths.
Hey, you remember Terry? And I remember when Brian Bailey asked Joe Dooley, how many wins do you think we're going to get this year? And he said all of them. How many games are you going to win this year? He said all of them. That was his expectation.
I remember when Russell McNeil was about to play Tulsa in game 1, and he was asked, and right before the end of spring camp and in the fall camp, he said, "What's the realistic expectation for game 1 against Tulsa?" And Russell said, "To win." So, I mean, it's
Yep.
But anyway,
Bubba, do you have anything?
No.
No. Well, we're going to have, I can tell everybody next week, obviously we'll have a few shows, including next week we'll have our Pirate preview as we're going to be going at Marshall. We'll have that. And of course, our Pirate playback. Right, Bubba?
All right.
It's Gary.
Who scored?
Yeah, that means the Apps took the lead. The Apps just took the lead on Miami.
All right.
I'm happy about that. Good for them, and definitely a program that continues to be on the rise. So Appalachian State.
Hey, Bob, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say Coach goes 2-10 this year, and then let's say what's App State's old head coach at Louisville's name? I can't think of it right now.
Scott Satterfield.
If Satterfield, let's say he goes 4-8 at Louisville and they fire him, would you hire him at East Carolina?
I would definitely. He'd definitely be on the list for sure.
Yep. All
right, guys. Well, appreciate everybody. Thank you to all the viewers, listeners.
Tell me that wouldn't add an element to that rivalry. Sorry, Dave.
Boy, it sure would. And I'm gonna tell you what.
Not that it needs anything, but if that happened, can you imagine?
Wow.
They do not like him at Louisville. The fan base. That's kind of why I think a lot of his assistants left. He tried to get the South Carolina job, and those Louisville fans turned on him like rabid dogs. And that's when a lot of his assistants left after that. They see the writing on the wall. So if he doesn't turn it around this year, I bet you they fire him. That's the reason I asked that question.
And then Petrino, didn't he? He had a kind of a deal all those years ago with Auburn, and then they brought him back.
Yeah,
because I think that's when he had a deal with Auburn, And then after that, I guess it's when he went to the Falcons, and then he went to Arkansas, then to to Arkansas, and then to
Correct.
Western Kentucky, and then back to Louisville.
Yep. So I it'll be interesting to see how things play out there with them. We got to. I hope. Look. Believe you me, I hope the guy we ain't talking about. Do we need to fire Houston? I hope he turns it around. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out. And if it came down to that, if Satterfield was out there, I think he'd be worth giving a look because I think even 5-7 at Louisville this year, they might get rid of him. Their fans just do not like him.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out. And Bubba, do you have anything?
Yeah, just very quickly around the American, UCF's crushing Bethune-Cookman as you would expect, 49-14 late third quarter. Memphis is winning a shootout with Arkansas State. Another Sun Belt matchup there for the American. 48-36 Tigers with 11 minutes left in the game. SMU 21-12 over North Texas. Surprised it's that low scoring with
me too.
14 minutes left in the ball game.
Hey.
Oklahoma State once again struggled with Tulsa, but the Cowboys won 28-23. Florida defeated South Florida 42-20 in Tampa.
Well, that'll be a hell of a Thursday night game. Who can score
that game was not nearly as close as that score indicated.
South Florida has not scored this year. They didn't score on NC State either.
Hey guys,
no, South Florida scored 20 points.
Did they score on it? Okay, it was halftime. They were okay. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
How about the game that I was interested in, and I double checked the score. All those people talking about how great Texas is. All those people. Every year we hear about how Texas is coming.
I don't think anybody thought Texas was going to be that great this year, new head coach. But what are you talking about?
Arkansas. A lot of people said that they were going to beat Arkansas. It's 40-14. Arkansas is beating Texas. So I thought it was going to be a tight game, and Arkansas would win. But it's 40-14 in the fourth quarter. That was one of the ones that I was looking at this week, where I couldn't believe that people were just so high on Texas.
Arkansas didn't look good in week one. They struggled with Rice. I believe they were looking ahead to Texas, and I think that shows now.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect to see that score, so I expected Arkansas to win more of a close one, like a real struggle like we had today with South Carolina. But man, that's I don't know. I'm not a Texas hater, but I just get tired of hearing about every year they're going to be back. They're going to be back. They're going to be back, and they're going to change their coaches like they do their underwear. That's why I hope we give our coach more than just 3 years. We'll see how that goes.
Comes down to contracts, Dave. It comes down to contracts. I mean, if you give him 3 years and you're leaving him, if you give him year number 4, if he has a terrible year this year, then you're going to have to either fire him or extend him after year number 4 for sure. But that's the problem. After 3 years, when you have a coach,
so he only has a 4-year deal.
It's a 5-year deal, but you can't have a coach. But you can't leave a coach left with 1 year left on their contract. You can't do that. You're killing them. They can't recruit. Let's say he's horrible this year, but we give him 1 more year. Okay, he's got to have a winning season in year 4, or he's going to have to be fired. Yeah,
right. We're saying the same thing again.
Yeah, but even after year 3, if you're recruiting and you just went 3-9 for a third straight year, they're going to use that against you. Your coach is going to be fired next year. Your coach is going to be fired. So that's what's the problem is. He needs to win more than 3 games. My God, I mean,
I agree with that.
I mean, this should not be a conversation. We are, it ain't like we're playing Alabama and Texas A&M. This is year 3, and by year 3, if he can't win more than 3 games, then to hell with him. I mean, I'm sick of it, man. I've been so nice about this the whole time by my standards, and I believe. Look, I believe Coach Houston's a good coach. I believe if he got fired here, he'd go to an FCS job and win again. But what he's trying to do here, look, what he did at the Citadel, he run the triple option. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing on offense here. I don't know if he's just lost his ever-loving mind. Be more creative on offense, coaches. Let's let's try to turn this thing around. And I don't know. I ran out of things to say.
All right.
It's a long season. Hopefully, this conversation will not be taking place in November, and we'll be talking about how we turned it around at Marshall, and went on to have a decent season.
All right. Well, I appreciate Bubba. Do you want to do a couple more scores?
Bubba's gone, unless he's going to post them on screen.
All right. And so John Gilbert next week. Hopefully, we'll have him.
Yeah, he might see the show and so I don't want to come on.
All right, let's get out of here. Hey, again, thank you to Alan Thomas, our great friend, former mayor of Greenville, and Terry Gallagher had to go, former wide receiver for the Pat Dyer. Bubba, Kyle, man, thanks, dude. Appreciate you so much.
Yep.
And we'll see how things go next week with Marshall. We'll have a lot of great content next week. Keep it right here. And until next time, you've been watching and listening to the Pirate Playback right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And always go Pirates.